The diner was louder than usual that Friday night. Plates clattered, laughter spilled across the booths, and the smell of fried chicken and coffee hung in the air. It was the kind of place where locals came to forget the long work week, where everyone knew everyone, except for one girl, quietly folding napkins in the corner. 17-year-old Naomi Reed was the youngest waitress on staff, working late shifts after school to help her mother with rent. Her sneakers were worn, her hands always smelled faintly of dish soap, and her smile, though tired, never faded when she carried food to the tables. She had learned early on that life didn't give her family much, but what little she had, she could still give back. That night, though, Naomi noticed something unusual. The usual crowd of truck drivers, teachers, and families fell silent when the diner door swung open. A group of bikers stepped inside, leather vests heavy with patches. People stiffened in their booths. Conversations hushed. And at the center of them was a man whose presence seemed to swallow the room whole. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a long gray ponytail trailing down his back and tattoos covering his arms like maps of a life carved in scars. The patch on his vest was unmistakable, Hell's Angels. A name whispered in both fear and awe. The men slid into a booth, their boots scraping against the floor, their laughter low and rough. Naomi's heart thumped as her boss gave her a pointed look. "Take their table," he muttered. Naomi swallowed hard. Every instinct told her to stay away. Stories about men like them floated through the town, dangerous, violent, not the kind of people you wanted to cross. But she grabbed her notepad, steadied her hands, and walked over. "What'll it be?" she asked, her voice soft but clear. The leader lifted his eyes, meeting hers. They weren't the wild, angry eyes she expected. Instead, they were tired, heavy with something that looked almost like grief. He ordered a burger and black coffee, nothing fancy. The others followed with loud, joking requests, but Naomi barely heard them. Her chest ached with a strange pull of empathy she didn't fully understand. When the food came, she placed his plate in front of him. He gave a small nod, nothing more. No smile, no thanks. Just a nod. The night went on, and soon, the bikers finished their meals. The check came to their table, and the man pulled out a thick wad of bills. But before he could pay, Naomi felt something stir inside her, a thought she couldn't push away. What if, for once, someone showed him kindness instead of fear? Before her courage could vanish, she reached out and slid the check toward herself. "It's on me," she said. The table went silent. One of the bikers chuckled, another raised an eyebrow, and the leader stared at her, his brow furrowed. "You're a kid," he said flatly. "You don't need to do that." Naomi's hands trembled, but she forced herself to meet his eyes. "Maybe not. But I want to." For a long moment, he said nothing. The air between them felt heavy, stretched tight like a wire. Then, with the faintest twitch of his mouth, he set his money back into his vest pocket. He didn't argue. He didn't even say thank you. He just nodded again, stood, and walked out with his men, their engines growling into the night. Naomi's co-workers whispered furiously. Some called her crazy, others shook their heads in disbelief. "You don't know who you're messing with," the cook muttered. But Naomi ignored them. It wasn't about who he was. It was about what she could give, even if it was small. She didn't expect to ever see him again. The next evening, Naomi was back at the diner, wiping down tables when her boss called her over. He was holding a plain white envelope. "Some guy dropped this off. Said it was for you." Her stomach twisted as she took it. Her name was written across the front in blocky handwriting. With trembling fingers, she opened it, and froze. Inside wasn't just a note. It was a check. Naomi's throat tightened as she read the amount. $5,000. Her knees nearly buckled. 5,000. More money than she and her mom had seen in one place in years. Enough to pay back rent, buy groceries, and finally fix the heater that rattled in their apartment every winter night. Tucked with the check was a short message, scribbled on diner stationery. Sometimes the smallest kindness means the most. R. Naomi clutched the envelope to her chest, her eyes burning with tears she couldn't hold back. She didn't understand why he had done it, why her gesture had touched him. But she knew one thing, her life, and maybe his too, had just been changed forever. What Naomi didn't know was that this gift was only the beginning. The check wasn't just money. It was a door into a past she knew nothing about, and a future she couldn't yet imagine. Because the man she had shown kindness to wasn't just another biker with a bad reputation. He was someone running from ghosts of his own, and her act of grace had stirred something inside him that had been silent for years. And soon, those ghosts would find their way to her doorstep too. Naomi barely slept that night. The envelope sat on her nightstand, its presence heavier than the cracked plaster walls around her. Her mother, Denise, found her staring at it in the early morning light. "Naomi, where did you get this?" Denise whispered, her voice a mixture of awe and fear as she held the check. "A man left it for me at the diner," Naomi explained. "One of the bikers. I paid for his meal, and the next day this showed up." Denise shook her head, her brows furrowing. "Honey, money like this doesn't just appear without strings. People don't give that kind of gift unless they want something back." Naomi bristled, though she understood her mother's caution. Life had taught Denise not to trust blessings, they usually came with a cost. But Naomi felt something different. "Mom, he didn't ask for anything. He just wanted to say thank you." Denise sighed, tucking the check back into the envelope. "Then cash it. Use it wisely. But don't forget, kindness is rare in this world. Be careful who you let close." For days, Naomi wrestled with the weight of that gift. She used part of it to catch up on overdue bills and bought Marcus, her little brother, a new pair of shoes. The way his eyes lit up as he laced them was worth more than any number on a piece of paper. But questions lingered in Naomi's mind. Who was R? Why had her gesture mattered so much to him? And why did she feel, deep down, that their paths weren't done crossing? Her answer came a week later. The roar of motorcycles echoed outside the diner again, but this time, only one bike parked out front. Naomi's heart jolted as she looked up and saw him, the man with the gray ponytail and weary eyes, walking through the door. Alone. He slid into a booth, his gaze scanning the room until it landed on her. Naomi's feet felt glued to the floor, but eventually she grabbed her notepad and approached. "You didn't have to come back," she said softly. "Neither did you that night," he replied, his voice gravelly. "Name's Roy." Naomi swallowed. "Naomi." He nodded, as though storing it carefully in his mind. "Sit. I ain't here to eat." Confused, she sat across from him, her hands folded nervously in her lap. Roy leaned forward, his voice low. "You remind me of someone. My daughter. She'd be about your age now if she was still here." Naomi's chest tightened. She didn't know what to say, so she let the silence hold his pain. "I wasn't there for her," Roy admitted, his jaw tightening. "I chose the club, the road, the fights. By the time I realized what I lost, it was too late. You paying for my meal, you looked at me like I wasn't some monster. Haven't had that in years." Naomi blinked back tears. "I didn't see a monster. I saw someone who looked like they needed kindness." Roy's eyes softened, though they still carried the storm of his past. "That check, it wasn't charity. It was me trying to make something right, for once. But if it puts you in danger, if anyone from the club finds out I gave it to you, it could get messy. You need to be careful." Naomi's pulse quickened. "Danger? From who?" Roy's gaze dropped to the table. Let's just say not everyone in my world believes in second chances. You helped me, Naomi. I don't want you paying the price for that. The bell above the door jingled, pulling Naomi's attention. Two men walked in, their vests marked with the same insignia Roy wore. Their eyes locked on him immediately, and Naomi felt the tension thicken. Roy's posture stiffened. I gotta go, he muttered, sliding out of the booth. Before leaving, he placed a folded paper in her hand. If things ever get bad, call this number. Don't ask questions. And just like that, he was gone. Naomi unfolded the paper with trembling hands. It wasn't just a phone number, it was an address scribbled beneath it. She didn't know why, but something in her gut told her this wasn't the end. Over the next week, strange things began happening. A black car idled near her apartment at odd hours. Marcus swore he saw men watching from across the street. And one night, Naomi came home from the diner to find their door unlocked, though nothing was taken. Fear clawed at her chest, but so did determination. Naomi knew it had something to do with Roy, with the world he belonged to. And though every instinct told her to stay far away, she couldn't forget the broken look in his eyes when he spoke of his daughter. Against her mother's warnings, Naomi decided to go to the address on the paper. It was on the edge of town, a rundown auto shop with a flickering neon sign. She hesitated at the door, but before she could knock, it swung open. Roy stood there, surprise flashing across his face before it melted into concern. Naomi, you shouldn't be here. I think I'm already in it, she whispered. The car, the men outside my apartment, what's going on, Roy? Roy exhaled heavily, running a hand down his face. You gave me kindness, and now you're caught in my mess. There are men in the club who don't like me walking away, who don't like me giving money outside their circle. That check, it painted a target on you. And I won't let them touch you. Naomi's stomach twisted, fear and anger colliding inside her. So what do we do? Roy's eyes met hers, steady and fierce for the first time. We fight. But not the way they expect. You gave me hope, Naomi. Maybe together, we can give them something they've never seen before. For the first time, Naomi realized this wasn't just about a meal or a check. It was about redemption, his, hers, and maybe even the people chasing them. And though she didn't know how, Naomi felt it in her bones. This was just the beginning of a fight that would test everything she believed in, family, courage, and the power of a single act of kindness.